Assalamu alaikum class. This is our first lecture video, and in this video we will have some basic discussion about functional analysis and some basic terms that are known already. So functional analysis is a branch of mathematical analysis dealing with functionals. Functionals are basically the functions of functions. It emerged as a distinct field in 20th century when it was realized that diverse mathematical process from arithmetic to calculus procedures exhibit very similar properties. In these properties are going to be discussed in functional analysis. Functional is just like a function. It is a relationship between two objects, and the objects may be the numbers, vectors, or functions itself. Grouping of such objects are called spaces. We have discussed many spaces earlier, like vector spaces, metric spaces. Similarly, we will have the grouping of such objects named as spaces. So the basic examples of functionals are differentiation and integration. As in the differentiation, the input is a function as well as the output, and similarly in integration, the input and output both are functions. It means differentiation and integrations are the functions or relationships that are relating the two functions. That's why these are examples of functionals. Here are some more informations about functional analysis. Functional analysis deals with infinite dimensional spaces, and as well as it used topological terms, but linear algebra mostly deals with finite dimensional spaces and does not use topology. An important part of functional analysis is the extension of Meyer theory and integration theory. Important thing is this, that if you want to study further, it will very helpful course for your higher studies. Here I'm going to define some basic terms like set. Set is a collection of well-defined distinct objects, we all know, and the set can be represented in different ways. The first one is tabular form, like this one. This set A, this is the tabular form, this is the descriptive form, and here we have the set builder notation as well. So set is defined to be a collection of well-defined distinct objects. Similarly, we define the group. Let G be a non-empty set and steric be an algebraic operation. It's not necessary that it is normal addition or multiplication. We can define it any way. So steric be an algebraic operation such that for any AB belonging to G, A steric B also belongs to G, that is closed under this operation. If the following axioms or conditions are satisfied, then we will say that the collection is going to make a group. For example, A steric B steric C is equal to A steric in bracket B steric C. This defines the associative property. Number 2, identity element must exist, and number 3, we must have the corresponding inverse element under the operation steric. Then the pair G steric is named as a group. So you can say that this is not an ordered pair. If you are having a representation in this form, this is not an ordered pair. It is just a representation to define a collection, that this set along with this operation is going to define a group if it satisfied the following properties that I have mentioned, at associativity, existence of identity element, and inverse element as well. In addition, if A steric B is equal to B steric A, that is the commutativity hold, then we will name the group to be the abelian group. For example, let's suppose I have a set 0, 1, and -1. So this will define a group under usual addition. So if my operation is addition, then this set A is going to define a group under this usual addition. But on the other hand, because why I'm saying that this is going to be the group, because the associativity hold for addition, we all know that addition is irrespective of the order. Number 2, identity element exists. So for additive identity, we must have 0. So 0 is the additive identity also present in the set A. Inverse operation or inverse element. So for 1, the additive inverse will be -1, and the additive inverse of -1 will be +1. So this condition is also satisfied over here. That's why A under usual addition is going to map a form a group right now. Similarly, there are some other examples of abelian group under usual addition, which are the set of real numbers, set of rational numbers Q, and set of integers Z. Next, we are going to define the term rings. It is the ring is defined on the similar pattern as we define the group. That is, we have a non-empty set and some operation satisfying some particular conditions. But now in rings, we have two operations, not a single operation. So a triplet. This triplet is not the triplet like we defined that the first term is representing the x coordinate, the second one is for y coordinate, and the third one is for z coordinate. This is just a group, or this is just a combination in which we have a non-empty set A and two operations. These two operations not necessarily to be the usual addition or multiplication. This could be defined in any way. Like I can say that the addition is going to be A plus B for any AB belonging to the set A is equal to 2A plus 3B. Then I will check out all the properties with respect to this addition operation. So these two addition and multiplication are not the usual, not necessarily to be the usual addition and multiplication, but these could be the usual ones as well. It's said to be a ring if the following conditions are satisfied. Again, number one, the A under addition must be an abelian group, associativity hold, and distributive property also holds in this case. In addition, if A dot B is equal to B dot A, then A is said to be the commutative ring. Why we are saying it to be the commutative ring? Because abelian group means the commutativity under addition also hold, and by this property we are saying that commutativity under multiplication also holds. That's why if this condition holds, then we will say that A is a commutative ring. There are some examples of commutative rings under usual addition and multiplication. You can see that previously we say that the set of integers, set of rational numbers q, and set of real numbers r are under usual addition are abelian groups, and because these are abelian groups and under usual multiplication the other properties are also satisfied, that's why we have named these to be the commutative rings here. The next term I'm going to define is field. A commutative ring is said to be a field if the non-zero elements of F form a group under multiplication. Form a group under multiplication means these are going to satisfy the properties that must be hold for being a group. Number one, associativity. Number two, identity element, and number three, the inverse element. So why we are imposing the condition of being non-zero elements of F? Because if we have a zero element as well, then we cannot define the multiplicative inverse for 0. That's why we are imposing the condition that we are having non-zero elements of F here. So there are some examples of fields as well. Next, we have vector spaces. Let V be a non-empty set and F be a field. Then V is said to be vector spaces over F. If number one, there is a binary operation plus in V called addition such that V is an abelian group under addition. Number one, it must be an abelian group under addition. Number two, V is a scalar multiplication and defined over here that for V belongs to V, A dot V belongs to the capital set V, where V is the set not considered to be the vector spaces. Then here you can see the distributive property and over multiplication if we have the elements of vector spaces V, and for scalars A plus B dot V must be a hold with the distributive property. A B dot V will be equal to A into B dot V. Clearly 1 dot V will be equal to V. If all these axioms are satisfied, then the then the set V is named as the vector space V over the field F, because field F is here to define the scalar multiplications, and we take the vectors from the field F, scalar multiples from the field F. Elements of F are called the scalars, and the elements of V are named as the vectors, being the vector spaces. These are not the original vectors, these are just named to be the vector spaces. And there are some examples of usual vector spaces as well. You can see that the vector spaces is already being discussed in your earlier courses. This is not new as such. The next term we are going to define is metric spaces. Now let X be a non-empty set. A function D from X cross X to R is said to be a metric. X cross X, which is the normal usual multiplication of the two sets, binary multiplication of the two sets, is said to be a metric. Or a distance function metric is also represented for the distance if it has the following properties. Number one, for any xy belong to the set A, D of xy greater than or equal to 0, because we know that the distance is always non-negative. That's why we are saying that D of xy must be greater than or equal to 0, and the distance between x and y will be 0 if and only if x is equal to y. So this is the first property. The second one saying that d of xy must be equal to d of yx, because the distance must be the same, either we are moving from x to y or from y to x, and this is named as the symmetric property. And the third one is the triangle inequality, that is d of xz is less than or equal to x of y plus d of yz, where y is lying between x and z. So in such case, the pair xt is called a metric spaces. If D is a metric, then the pair is named as a metric spaces. So you can see that when we discuss group, ring, field, vector spaces or metric spaces, in all these terms we are having a grouping of a non-empty set with some algebraic operations, and that algebraic operations must satisfy the some properties. On the basis of those properties, we named the grouping to be the vector spaces, to be field, or to be the ring or group or metric spaces. So here are some examples of metric spaces. Here we are defining the usual metric d of x y is equal to mod of x minus y, and the Euclidean spaces are defined with the help of the metric that d of x y is equal to square root of summation I varying from 1 to n xi minus y whole square. And this Euclidean space is defined for Rn, that is every element is going to be an n tuple now. So x1 x2 xn be the first element, and the n tuple y1 y2 up to so on yn be the second element, and here is defined the metric. And because this metric or this function is satisfying all the properties of metric, that's why this is named as Euclidean space over here. And here we have a topological, here we are having a discrete metric space, and D is called the trivial or discrete metric, and it is defined to be 0 if x is equal to y and 1 if x is not equal to y, because we are having only two discrete or finite values. That's why this is named as discrete metric space. The next one defined over here is topological space. How we define the topological space? Let x be a non-empty set, a collection of subsets of x is said to be a topology on x if the union of finite or infinite number of members of T is belongs to T, the intersection of a finite number of members of Tau belongs to Tau, and the empty set phi and the set x itself belongs to Tau. These are some conditions that must be fulfilled on the set of subsets Tau. Then we will say that x Tau is defining a topological space. Now you can see that in metric spaces we are having a function, and now in topological spaces we are having a subset which for defining the topology Tau. Let x be a non-empty set, then the power set p of x is defined a topology on x called the discrete topology, and x Tau is named as the discrete space. So you can see that in group, field and ring, also in vector spaces, we are defining a grouping of the non-empty set with some operation, and then in metric spaces we make a group of non-empty set with some function d, and now in topological spaces we are grouping the non-empty set with some with a collection of the elements from the set x, because Tau is assumed to be the subset of the set x. And here is an example of topological space as well. Here are some more examples for topological spaces. So these were the basic terms for functional analysis. That's it. Thank you.